Hello, I'm Landis, and happy Valentine's Day. Now, let's try and get some pussy. Now, if you thought I was only playing this game so I could make that joke, you're about 95% right. The other 5% is because it's the only game I've got that's even remotely Valentine-y. Valentine-y a word? Bollocks it is now. Let's give it a go. Okay, so, there's chapters. You'll have to forgive my denseness with this, I'm not used to this genre. It's bizarre. But essentially we're playing a dating sim novel kind of thing. Where it's a story where we try and find love. With a cat. As far as I understand. If you've never heard of this game, which I doubt many of you have, I would suggest heading over to the Steam page and watching some of the trailers the creators put together. They are quite amusing, and the trailers alone kind of convinced me that we would probably give this a go. Now I'm going to stop faffing about and we're actually going to try and play something. Ooh, we haven't seen any of the game. 18 endings. I don't plan on doing a series. New game. Let's go. Ooh. Well. Don't look like any of them, do I? Well, we'll use that one. Landis. Oh, random name. Iris. Chloe. Claudia. Jack. Barry. We're going to be Barry. Barry looks like he'd enjoy this. Yes. What? I'm an angel. Indeed. Okay. This is going to destroy my innocence, isn't it? I'm not sure how long we've been sailing, but it feels like forever. I'm not feeling too well now, so it's a huge relief to hear the deck lad shout. Island approach. Make yourself ready. I'm finally here. When I applied last month, I was just another broke student living off baked beans and didn't really think I had a chance of being accepted to be part of the prestigious Cat Island research team. Ooh. Yet here it is, a little black dot in the distance, growing bigger by the second. Is this infamous Cat Island the place I will call home for the next few months? Well, this thing. My heart momentarily skips a beat. What if there has been a mistake? What if they've accepted somebody else's application and accidentally sent the offer to me? I rummage about in my bag until I find the papers. Oh, jeez. DPRI, DP Corporation. Dear Barry, we are pleased to be able to offer you the position of research assistant to Professor Pawpaw at our research facility on Cat Island. The position will be for an initial period of 8 weeks. Your contract will be sent separately. We look forward to working with you. Yours sincerely, Professor Pawpaw, PhD, BCS Hons, DPG. No idea what any of that means. No mistake, that's my name, right there at the top left-hand corner. Barry. And that's his name at the bottom. The genius behind this whole operation. Professor Pawpaw. Pawpaw? Is it Pawpaw? I'm gonna say Pawpaw. Science genius. And my new boss. And I can't seem to maintain a voice. I look up from the papers to see dry land rapidly approaching before us. It seems to be surrounded by a huge barrier of impenetrable black rocks. As we get closer, we're not slowing down. I begin to worry that we're going to crash into them. Then, at the very last moment, we take a sharp turn to the left, and suddenly we're sailing smoothly towards a jetty, through an opening in the rocks. I blow out the breath that I've been holding, and break into a smile. Nicely done, Skipper! Wow. ferryman comes out from behind the steering wheel, ignoring my attempts at camaraderie, and shouts rather brusquely. I don't know what that word is, which is unusual. Shouts rather brusquely. Take all your belongings. We won't be back for days, so don't leave nothing you'll need. I like Bob. Thank you. I mean, as I could go that high. I smile weakly at the ferryman and his son, and pick up my bags, ready to disembark. We glide seamlessly up to the wooden jetty, and the son leaps ashore to tie us off. He's greeted by a bulky man in uniform, who I take to be a security officer of some kind. Joe. Sir, caught you a mouse? And then he laughs loudly as though he said the funniest thing he's ever heard. It's very disconcerting. The security guard remains silly and turns his attention to me. Let's be having you then. He holds out his large hand, and I assume is an offer to help me off the boat. As I reach out to take it, he snatches it away, throwing me off balance so I almost fall over the side. What a great start. ID card. Oh, I see. Of course. I reach into my back pocket and hand over the laminated card I was given at the mainland. This is a little bit too much preposition. Barry, the first of the first 17. Do I change any of this? No. Disco cat. He barely looks at it before striding off, grunting over his shoulder. This way. Follow him down a dirt track path and get my first proper view of the island. It's beautiful, lush green. I'm already under its spell. After no more than a couple of minutes trekking, we're in base camp, which consists of an assortment of tents and huts. Among them are two more solid-looking structures, one larger and one smaller. I presume these are labs. The whole camp is moderate but functional, which reminds me of an army outpost. I'm struck by the lack of people. In fact, there's no one around apart from an older woman sitting outside peeling a pile of potatoes. I smile and give her a little nod, as she just stares back at me. There's gonna be a lot of reading in this one. I try not to get paranoid. Ooh. Stats. Okay, so there is some gameplay element here somewhere. I mean, as I say, I'm kind of new to this genre. I'm not sure how much of this I'm gonna have to read. He stopped at the largest of the tents, indicating that I should go inside. I feel rude just walking in, so I make my presence known first. Hello? A firm but friendly voice calls out. Come. I walk in, and there he is, hunched over some documents. The great Professor Purrfect. Sir, it's an honor to meet you. Yes, you must be Barry. Come on in, my dear. Glad to have you on board. Good journey? Well, long. Yes, indeed. We're rather tucked away here. Let me offer you some refreshment. Water, coffee, something stronger, perhaps whiskey. You got some choice. It would be rude to let you drink whiskey on your own. But you should probably do some work. Let's have some tea. I'd love a cup of tea, if there's a pot on the go. Ah, I can tell you're new. The tea here tastes like cat's piddle. You really don't want to drink it. He pours me a cup of coffee from his canteen instead. It's a good thing I like coffee. I don't like coffee. It will take you a while to find your way around and discover how it all works. So for today, I thought we'd just get you kitted out and maybe introduce you to some of the locals. The cats, that is. I believe you've already met most of the human locals. I've only met the ferryman and the security guard who brought me here. Yep, that's about it. And the lady outside? Ah, Miss Marigold. Her and her husband are the caretakers. Wonderful couple, the Marigolds. You'll meet them before too long. We're a tidy little family here. Barry, and I'm sure you'll fit in nicely. Okay. Thank you, sir. I hope so. Okay, so first things first. This is your basic kit. He begins going through a pile of things on his desk, explaining each of them in turn. This is your... It's actually going to make me read all of that. This is your backpack. You can put everything in it. We'll be going on plenty of field trips, so it'll be very useful. As for your own water bottle. Some disinfectant hand spray. These are heavy-duty reinforced gloves, which are essential when tagging cats out in the wild. Don't want any scratches from felines we don't know now, do we? I suppose not. I shove each item into the new backpack as he gives them to me. Likewise, these goggles are to be brought along on all field trips. This is the lot. This lot here. He indicates to a small pile of what looks like laundry. His basic uniform, lab coats, masks, stethoscope, etc. Portable first aid kit, camping knife, and tool attachments. Finally, and without doubt most importantly, this. He holds up something that looks a lot like a mobile phone, except it clearly isn't one. This is your catalogue. Fuck off. Yes, catalogue. Catalogue? Yes, the name comes from its earliest version. It was initially designed to record and store data on the cats, scan them and log their details, but as you can see, we've come a long way since then. Now you can use it to communicate with the rest of our team. I've added everyone's contact details for you. Listen to music, take photos. There's even a pen that comes with it to insert microchips into the back of the cat's necks so that we can keep track of them. It's a very valuable piece of equipment, Barry, and I need you to protect it above all else. Do you understand? He's looking me directly in the eye and clearly expects a response. Yes, sir. Of course I will look after it. Good. You'll get to know all the functions as you go along. But for now, I suggest we take a stroll out and see if we can't find a few friends to introduce you to, so that you can try it out. He hands me the gadget. I feel a bit nervous taking charge of it. I'm also really keen to have a go. We head down to the beach. The professor explains things as we go. The mixture of terrain on Cat Island is quite unique. Even in such a relatively small area, you'll find forests, mountains, jungles, beaches, woodlands. All of these different geological and ecological zones in one place. It really is most remarkable. It certainly is. Even the lack of wildlife is, in itself, quite remarkable. What do you mean, Professor? Well, put simply, there is a type of force field that surrounds the island, disallowing anything to enter. You mean, literally, anything? Absolutely. No birds, no fish, or creatures of any kind can penetrate it. Forgive my lack of intelligence on the subject, but, we're here? Professor lets out a disconcertingly loud laugh. Ah! I see what you mean. Well, there is of course one small break in the invisible wall, and that is where we built the jetty. But let's not get too bogged down in all this right now. What you do need to know is that basically the island is shaped like a peanut. He picks up a nearby stick and draws a simple map on the sand. There's indeed a peanut. This is our end of the island. It's very well known to us now. We've been researching here for many years. The other end is not so familiar to us. We have encountered difficulties that have hindered our progress in that region. What type of difficulties, Professor? Well, we're not as sure as we'd like to be, but what I can tell you is that the environment has an adverse effect upon humans, inducing nausea at the very least. And at the worst? Fainting, migraines, possible nerve damage. Gosh, that's serious. As I say, it's best to keep away. But let's not go into all of that now, my dear. You've had a long day. For now, let's just say we refer you to the far end of the island as the danger zone, with good reason. I must ask you not to put yourself at risk by venturing beyond this mountain range here. Okay. He infers the map once more, drawing a line past the center and a next through the end section. Ooh, we don't really have much of the island, do we? There are wild, aggressive cats out there. I wouldn't want you getting too close to them. Unlike our lovely fellows closer to home. He has led me to a spot where a few cats are lounging about. What do you say we try out our catalogue now, Barry? He stoops down and picks up one of the animals, a disgruntled-looking cat, who was sleeping under the shade of a palm tree. cat lets out a displeased mewl, but doesn't struggle. Its large body billowing with long orange fur just sort of hangs in the professor's arms in lazy resignation. Would you like to have a go at scanning this delightful chap? I find the on switch and somewhat timidly activate it. The gadget immediately comes to artificial life, emitting a boop, 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 boop sound with a red pulsating light. I select the app labeled CAT scan. For fuck's sake. And it loads instantly. There's no delay on this thing. The professor holds the cat towards me with arms outstretched. I'm sure he said the scanning chip is implemented into the back of the neck somewhere. But it's difficult to find this one's neck amidst the thick cloud of fur. I blow to make a parting and press the catalogue to his skin. It's a bit like scanning groceries in the supermarket, where I used to work. That should do it. And he plops the Marmalade Tom back into shade. Sure enough, upon withdrawal, I find the cat has been successfully scanned. Meow. Floofy Butt. Nice name, buddy. Floofy Butt, gender male, age 10 years, 4 months, breed red tabby, Persian, and red eyes. Okay, none of these actually do anything. Amazing! Clever, isn't it? A large part of your job here will be to tag and scan the cats, such as Mr. Fluffybutt here. But it looks like you'll have no problems at all in that area. Excellent work, Barry. Thank you, sir. I can't wait to get started. Me neither. Well, why don't you get a bit more practice with the catalogue and scan the rest of them while we're here? These 5 spend a lot of time together. They're like a little family, aren't you? Oh, yes you are. Professor seems to be a genuine cat lover like me. I think we're going to get on great. Okay, here goes. No help this time. The professor steps back. The first cat I approach is very friendly, with beautiful calico markings. It comes towards me, already purring. Meow. Trixie. It's a female, 3 years and 8 months, calico American short hair, with green eyes. That was easy. Next is an elegant, sleek, hairless cat, sitting gracefully in the sun. Doesn't pay me much attention and allows me to scan her with minimal fuss. Ooh. That hurts my eyes. Very pretty. Snooty Booty. It's female, 11 years, 1 month. It's a sphinx, and has blue eyes. Fourth cat I approach is a noisy one. Meow, 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 meow. McMurphy. 6 years old, brown crossbreed, and he's green. I'm gonna guess McMurphy's probably Irish. Or Scottish. And finally, the one I've deliberately put off until last. He's been skulking around the edges of the activity, eyeing me suspiciously, as though he could pounce at any moment. I laughed at myself, already projecting personalities onto these animals. Ooh. Hiss. Kibbles. 3 years old, white British long hair, with green eyes. Yay! It's like Pokemon, but without any game. All done. I hope you enjoyed meeting some of the locals. The professor lets out a little laugh. I have a feeling you'll get to know them quite well in time. That's probably enough for your first day, don't you think? It's quite a lot to take in. I am suddenly exhausted and grateful to be heading back to the camp. Okay. So we found some cats. It's our messy room. It's quite late by the time I've unpacked and settled myself, but I want to write my journal entry before I sleep. I'm surprised at how chilly it is. I pulled my sleeping bag right up to my chin, but I still feel goose pimples bloom all over my arm. Shivering, I rub them to warm myself up. It makes me smile to think that this inherent reaction to the cold is what will be keeping my new feline friends warm tonight. My eyelids close, thinking of cats and the island and the professor. The world around me drifts away as I float up into a dream. Is that significant? Little fading out thing there. I'm not sure how long I've been asleep, but I wake up with a violent jolt that leaves me sitting bolt upright. It's too dark to see anything, but I hear a rustling and a strange electronic noise. one that in my sleepy confusion I can't place right away. Boop, boop, boop. That's somebody on my phone. The catalogue! Acting on instinct, I scramble to my feet and follow the noise out of the tent. Ruh-oh, Raggy. I look around me, and my fears are confirmed when I catch sight of a pulsing red light getting fainter in the direction of the forest. I snap into action, running as fast as I can. Barefoot, dressed in my pajamas, running at full speed into the forest in the dark of night. I must be crazy. The words of Professor Purrfect are ringing in my ears. I need you to protect it above all else. My legs are trembling beneath me. I stop, feeling my heartbeat heavy throughout my body. I wheeze in and out, my breath billowing in front of me in white puffs. I shouldn't feel like this. Why am I so dizzy? I try to get my bearings and realize I've blundered perilously close to the danger zone. I can just make out the shapes of some large animals in front of me before my eyes close and I drop to my knees. Ooh. Open my eyes, the calico cat I scanned yesterday is sitting in front of me. She drops the catalogue at my feet. Okay. I pass out. Intriguing. Hello, can you hear me? Are you okay? What is it? Don't be ridiculous, Nibbles, it's a human. Oh yeah. Yuck, I can smell it now. It smells like a human. Oh, do be quiet. Are they alive? Of course it's alive, it's breathing, you imbecile. Why isn't it moving? Would you come and give them some space? Move back a bit. Yes, stand back. Move out of my way, let me have a proper look. I begin to come to. The Sphinx cat is standing over me. As I open my eyes, we stare at each other for a moment, while I try to take in what's happening. Is this one defective? Oh, I feel sick, I'm gonna puke. Cats watch me intently. Am I going insane? Ouch. My head. What is it chattering about? They're scared and confused. Let me talk to them. Human? Are you alright? You. I remember you. You took my catalogue. Oh, but I gave it back to you. It's back in your pocket now. I try to reach into my pocket and realize my hands are scratched to shreds. Ow! What's wrong with my hands? Yeah, I try to stand. Ow, my feet! What happened to me? Yeah. I guess that's from all the climbing. I told you wasn't ready for that. What's that? Ready for what? It's an anatomical structure. It's far too delicate. I tried to slow it down. Yeah, Floof. I'm trying restraining a human who's that determined. Just like Margay, this automated structure didn't seem that delicate to me. I was like, what? Doing what? You made your own way back to the beach. Okay, that doesn't explain. I show my bleeding hands. Ah, you crawled, Kara. Kara? Who's Kara? That's not my name. It's a term of endearment. It's an Irish thing. Ah, so he is Irish. Haha. It's inappropriate. Wait, I crawled? Yeah, sure did. Like a cat? Yup. All the way from the mountains. Like a bleeding mountain lion. Impressive. Why? Because you got the sickness. Shh. Maybe you should sit down, human. We need to have a talk. Possibly a long talk. Talk? Yes, that's right. Since when can cats talk? Oh, for goodness sake, since the dawn of time, who else do you think we communicate? How else do you think we communicate, even? Ah, stop splitting whiskers, Major. You know full well what the human is saying. I think the revelation here, Kara, is that you can understand us. Yes, that too. Will someone please explain what the hell is going on here? Well, we don't fully understand anything ourselves. At least not all the details of how this works. I think being stood in a forest surrounded by a bunch of talking cats is about as much detail as anyone would want. Probably true. Agree. And more to the point, we're rather hoping you would be able to help us. You are the scientist after all. What we do know is that the clock has started ticking for you. What do you mean? Well, there's no easy way to say this to you, Kara. You'll be catified. What? Whether you help or not, you don't have a lot of time before... If I may... It would seem, and we are basing this on our experiments to date, that when a human manages to find themselves in what I believe you call the danger zone, they are vulnerable in ways that they were previously not. That is to say, you're screwed. Wrong accent. Just wanted to say it. You're not helping. Don't make me... Whoa, mountain lion. There'll be no violence of any kind. Forgive me for being a bit panicked over here. The vulnerability to which Snooty Bottom was referring is simply put. If you are bitten or scratched by an elder cat within the danger zone, you will begin a process of change that will ultimately result in a full feline transition. Catified. So basically, you're telling me I'm a werecat. I look down, and in amongst the scratches on my right hand are two distinct puncture marks. The reality of my situation descends on me like a cold mist. Basically. Yes. My head is spinning. This is too much for me to take in. Take a breath now, Kara. You're not looking so good. What? Have I started to change? I feel my head for ears. Everything seems to be normal. No? We just meant you're looking a bit shaky. Understandably so. I take a few deep, steady breaths and calm myself enough to say, okay. So why, how, what? Give me some data. What have you got so far? Look, we'll answer anything that we can, but the truth is, we have more questions than answers ourselves. So you said you need my help. What exactly would that entail? Well, finding our friends would be a start. The cats on the island, they're going missing. We don't know what's happening to them, but the body count is rising, and we've hit a wall. A wall of ignorance? Maybe really, how many times do I have to tell you? The Muellers are to blame. Muellers? Now, Fluffy Butt, there's no need for name-calling. Speaking of name-calling, I'll remind you to call me Major, madam. Look, they can't help the way they are. It's a lack of breeding, you know. Overbreeding, if you ask me. Again, Muellers? They're the elder cats, the island originals. They can't speak the way we can, hence the derogatory term, Muellers. How are they to blame exactly? Well, if I knew that, there would have been no need for this elaborate kidnapping. It's hardly proven to be a roaring success after all. Look, Kara, all we really know is that we're no longer safe on the island. The elders who live within the danger zone are hostile towards us. Not sure why, it's just always been that way. And now, because cats are being taken, nowhere else is safe either. Expect the occasional mishap, we live in an undomesticated world here after all. But lately, cats have been disappearing almost every day. Even the last human we catified went missing. I'm sorry, what? Let's not open old wounds, Nibbles. Yes, onwards and upwards. Well, first things first, this werecat thing. Catification? Transition. Whatever. How does it work? Time passes, and then you transform into a cat. Yeah. It's a gradual process. I'm not sure what the flying bollock is going on. It's different for everyone, but you won't just turn overnight. The clock is ticking, however. The first side effect of the transition is being able to understand us. Well, some of us. Not the elders, obviously. Not all the domestics either. Then you'll have the whole heightened senses thing. This increased agility, the crazy body hair stuff. Let's not worry the human with all the details just yet. I assume there's an antidote. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed in that assumption. Hang on, you said there was someone else who you'd put in this position. Well, let's hope you're a better bet than they were. Unfortunately, they weren't able to discover an antidote or get our friends back. I know where their notes are, though. Really? Trade. Oh. You help us, and I'll give you the progress reports. So what do you say, Kara? Will you help us? Well, that's my stats. Nothing. With this stage, really good chunk into the game. We ain't done now. Help the kitties. I think that's part of the story. Not much choice, really, is it? I'm afraid not. Okay, fine. So where do I start? Is there anything you can tell me that will help me track down your missing friends? Will no one listen to sense? Start with the Muellers, and I'll eat my hat if it doesn't end there too. Don't mind him. He's set in his ways. We have every reason to believe the abductions take place in your part of the island. Yes, nowhere near the danger zone or the elders. Well, that doesn't make much sense. I suppose nothing does around this place. My catalogue starts beeping. Oh, my alarm. I have to get to work. You run along now. We don't want you arousing suspicions with your people. You can meet with us later. I'll make sure those reports are in your tent before this evening. That white one's voice keeps changing because I don't want the fuck to do with it. Thanks, Kara. You're 1 in a million. No idea if I'm saying Kara right. Or if I should do the accent. I imagine the odds are far greater than that, given your new health status. Go, and thanks from all of us. So essentially, I'm reading a book. After a rather painful journey, I am very grateful to finally limp into camp. I have just enough time to get myself tidied up for work. I'm about to peel off my filthy pajamas when I hear my catalogue beeping. I have a message, but I can't tell who it's from. It's not from any of the contacts that Professor Pauper programmed into it. In fact, there's no contact information at all. Unknown number. Are you sure it is wise to trust everyone? Anyone? What on earth does that mean? Who is this? There's a lot you don't know. Think carefully about who you confide in. Ooh. Before I can think of a reply, the messages are gone and my catalogue has no record of them. I don't have any time to think about this right now. I need to get ready. As soon as I'm presentable, I'll head over to the lab. I'm 10 minutes late. It doesn't give a good impression on my first morning. Ah, Barry. Good to see you. I was beginning to worry. Did you oversleep in your first day? Terribly sorry, sir. I think the travelling and all the excitement of yesterday, I take punctuality very seriously. He cuts across my apology. Not to worry, it's perfectly understandable. You'll find I'm quite relaxed about most things as long as you get the work done. I don't much mind what hours you keep. Thank you, sir. So, shall we get started? My goodness, what on earth happened to you? He's looking at the scratches all over my hands. Oh, I fell and tried to save myself by grabbing onto a bush. Not a secret drinker, are you, Barry? No, sir. I'm a bit of a lightweight, to tell you the truth. Just teasing. We ought to get those hands sorted out, though. They look pretty nasty to me. He goes to the tall metal cabinet in the corner and takes out a bottle and some cotton wool. He begins cleaning and tending to my hands while he talks. But today, I'd like you to help me with a few tasks around the lab to get the hang of things. But from tomorrow, I'll let you make your own choices about how best to carve up your time. Of course, you're primarily here to carry out your job as my research assistant. However, try to make the most of your time in the island. Once your work is completed, you'll be saying goodbye. This really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so don't waste it all in the lab. Naturally, I need your help around here, but I'd also like to get your hands dirty with some field work. Make sure you spend the time exploring the island. It's a beautiful place, and there's a lot to see. Take the time to get to know the cats. Full understanding of their behavior is crucial to our research. There's plenty to see and do, however, you must be careful not to overwork. Take regular rest and relaxation. We don't want you to burn yourself out now, do we? Try to get the balance right. That's the spirit, so there you are. I've done a first-class job on my wounds, and they aren't bothering me nearly as much. I spend the rest of the day with the professor getting to know how the various pieces of equipment in the lab work, finally finding out where everything is and learning some of the basic duties I will be performing routinely. By the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I make my way to my tent. I'm about to flop down on my bed when I see a package poking out from underneath it. Mr. reports that Nibbles promised to deliver. The cats are right. The previous person barely made a start on producing an antidote. I'm gutted and worried. What if I can't do any better? Will I just turn into a cat? I decide that's not an option and resolve to get going on my research into it tomorrow. My instincts tell me that the cats will be a good starting point. I have a feeling they'll know a lot more than they prepared to tell me. I need to gain their trust and see if I can't get them to open up a bit. I'm sure I'll make more progress if I focus on one at a time. I'm optimistic that one-to-one sharing will prove fruitful. It's a small glimmer of hope. Tonight, I'm not fit for anything. I can barely even write in my journal before I fall asleep. If you enjoyed this video, then tickle the like button. Perhaps subscribe and join the rest of the channel. Maybe leave a comment, let us know if you want us to continue this, and don't forget to check out the links on the Patreon, Twitter, Discord, and Facebook. I've been Landis. This has been Purrfect Date. Thank you very much. See you soon.